Alright, this is still Chapter 1, Section 1, so 1.1, Example 2. At the beginning of the year, an investor puts $1,000 into a fund that pays 20% annually. The investor projects how much will be in the fund at the end of each year for the next 3 years. How much money will be in the investment fund at the end of 4 years? So, we're putting $1,000 in, and it goes up by 20% annually. All right? So, 20% as a decimal. Remember, to get a decimal for percentage, we move it once, we move it twice. We move it twice. So that's how we use it as a decimal. Now, for this instance, if you look at the actual equation, we're actually going up by a factor of 1.2. Here's my point. If you take 1200 and multiply it by 1.2, you get 1440. If you take 1440 and multiply it by 1.2, we get 1728. So where did the 1 come from? Okay, so this is a key aspect of percentages. You know what 100% is, right? 100% is all of it. If I want 100% of your effort, that means I want all of your effort. If you got 100% on the test, that means you got all of it right. Well, in this case, I want 100% of it plus 20%. All right? Step 2 in this case, this 1440 is all of that plus 20%. So what this is the 100% takes all of the 1200, and the 20 adds the 20%. All right. The 100 takes all of this 1200, and the 20 adds the 20% to make it 1440. Okay. And then last but not least, 120%. The way we use it as a decimal, move it to the left twice, 1.2. All right. All right. If that's driving you crazy, just trust me for the time being. You will get used to this as the year progresses. We will use percentages enough that you will eventually make sense to you. So for each one of these, we are multiplying by 1.2. All right. So to get number 4, so if this is term number 1, this is term number 2, this is term number 3. To get number 4, so A sub 4 would equal, well, number 3 times 1.2. All right. And if you stuck that in your calculator, you got 2073.6. And since we're dealing with money, we'll give it 2 decimal points. All right, we're talking about money. You know, that's why we have the dollar sign. So we'll make it 2 decimal points. So that's A sub 4. So that's after 4 years. So for 5 years, so A at 5, the 5th one, we take the one before it, and we multiply it by 1.2. So take your 2073.6 and multiply it by 1.2. And you get, let's change the color, 2,488.32. That is how much is in the investment fund after 4 years. So, if we were to write a rule for this, because we are multiplying, remember this is geometric, we take the geometric formula. So for A sub n, that basically means any step, any A you want, whichever step you want, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Take the one before it and multiply it, in this case, by 1.2. That would be your rule. Cool? All right. At this point, let's roll on down to you try it. All right? Take a second and you try this. Pause the video and you try it. Okay, hopefully you tried it and you're back. So for you try it number 2, a patient takes 500 milligrams of a medicine. 500 milligrams of a medicine. A nurse charts the amount of medication in the patient's system. So after 1 hour, you got 400. After 2 hours, you got 320. After 3 hours, you got 256. What is the common ratio in this situation? Approximately how much medicine to the nearest milligram will remain in the patient's system after 5 hours? So, what do I got to multiply 400 by to get to 320? So in this case, I'm going to have to do a little math on this one. We will just simply take the next step and divide it by 400. So 320 divided by 400, and you get 0.8. Do the same thing here. You do 256 divided by the one before it, 320. 256 divided by 320. And you get, oh my goodness, you get 0.8. All right, do the next one. 204.8 divided by the one before it, 256. 204.8 divided by 256. You get 0.8. You notice the pattern yet? The ratio for this one is 0.8. And this one is actually going down. If you want to know the percentage, this one is actually going down 20% each one. All right? And you can ask me about that later. If you don't get that, we'll talk about that later. But this one is actually decreasing by 20%. So the rule for whichever A I want, I take the one before it and I multiply it by point. What did I just do? I multiply it by 0.8. Okay? So in this case, I want number 5. So if I want number 5, I take the one before it, I multiply 0.8 times 204.8. So 204.8 times 0.8 equals 163.84. So after 5 hours, you have 163.84 milligrams of the medicine in your system. And it says to the nearest milligram. So if we were rounding to the nearest milligram, that means we're rounding to this point right there. So since it's 8, we'll round it up. So it's technically 164 would be the answer. All right.